Presented by Listen Headlines. Latest financial news from trusted sources.
New York Times Business. November 12, 1924 America, New York. Judge ends conservatorship overseeing Britney Spears' life and finances. The pop star had called the arrangement, which governed her life for nearly 14 years, exploitative. A judge ruled it was no longer required. Supporters of Britney Spears gathered outside the courthouse in Los Angeles on Friday.
Daily FX Market News. November 12, 1900 America, New York. Australian dollar outlook. US dollar, Treasuries, Commodities. Where to for AUD, USD. The Australian dollar weakened during the week as the fallout from US CPI sent US yields higher, bidding up the US dollar. Will AUD, USD find a base?
New York Times Business. November 12, 1833 America, New York. Amazon Staten Island workers withdraw request for union vote. The workers had spent months collecting signatures to call for an election. The Amazon Labor Union, an organizing group at the company's Staten Island warehouses, has been led by Christian Smalls, left. The Library of Economics and Liberty. November 12, 1813 America, New York. Students open to evidence on taxes. Interviewers at campusreform.org often go on campuses to interview college students about their knowledge of various current issues. There has been a lot of talk lately about whether the rich in the United States pay their fair share in taxes. Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. November 12, 1802 America, New York. As Taylor Swift re-recorded her Red album, Universal reworked contracts. Taylor Swift's re-recordings of her music catalog, including the Red album, are going viral on TikTok and outperforming the originals on streaming services, and her label, Universal Music Group, has tightened up terms with other artists. New York Times Business. November 12, 1749 America, New York. Johnson & Johnson will break itself up into two companies. The 135-year-old company announced plans to divide itself into a consumer products business and a medical company. Johnson & Amp. Johnson announced plans to spin off its consumer products division, home to Tylenol, Band-Aid, Neutrogena beauty products and more, into a separate business. Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. November 12, 1740 America, New York. Amazon worker group withdraws petition for union election in New York. A group of Amazon.com Inc. warehouse employees in the New York City borough of Staten Island have withdrawn their petition with the National Labor Relations Board to hold a union election at 4 company warehouses, a Labor Board spokeswoman said Friday.
BBC News Business. November 12, 1736 America, New York. Strategies to close the pandemic gender gap at work. COVID has pushed many women out of the workforce. What practical ideas will entice them back?
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. November 12, 1702 America, New York. U.S. moves to ease import tariffs on steel and aluminum from Japan. The U.S. and Japan will begin talks to address bilateral concerns over steel and aluminum issues, including the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration.
BBC News Business. November 12, 1700 America, New York. No regrets. Pandemic purchases that made us happy. Not everyone has buyer's remorse over what they bought in lockdown. For some, it changed their lives. BBC News Business. November 12, 1658 America, New York. Shine suppliers workers doing 75-hour week, finds probe. A new report suggests some of the fast fashion brand suppliers may be violating labor laws in China.
New York Times Business. November 12, 1635 America, New York. Record number of American workers quit jobs in September. Nearly 1 million workers quit in the leisure and hospitality industry alone, reflecting the competition for workers after pandemic-induced shutdowns. A hiring sign at a store in Manhattan. Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. November 12, 1630 America, New York. Activist Mantle Ridge has $1.8 billion stake in Dollar Tree. The investor plans to push the discount retailer to take action to boost its share price, according to people familiar with the matter.
Forex Live. November 12, 1618 America, New York. Forex Live America's FX News Wrap. Dollar rally cools as consumer sentiment hits 10-year low. Forex news for North American trade on November 12, 2021. Markets. The UMISH survey has a spotty recent history, but a 10-year low is tough to ignore, and it opened the door for a relief rally in the currencies that were beaten up by the dollar this week.
New York Times Business. November 12, 1617 America, New York, Helena Fortunoff, who built a family jewelry empire, dies at 88. A powerhouse female executive in a male-dominated industry, she hired a team of mostly women buyers who traveled the world to find unusual gems. Helena Fortunoff with her husband, Alan, in the family's flagship store on Fifth Avenue in 1979.
Forex Live. November 12, 1607 America, New York. Major U.S. indices rebound, but still close lower for the week. NASDAQ index leads the way. A look at the final numbers shows.
Wall Street Journal Markets. November 12, 1605 America, New York. Activist Mantle Ridge has $1.8 billion stake in Dollar Tree. The hedge fund plans to push the discount retailer to take action to boost its share price, according to people familiar with the matter.
Forex Live. November 12, 1559 America, New York. Steve Bannon indicted for contempt of Congress. Charges failed for failing to honor House subpoena. The DOJ has filed charges against former Trump White House advisor Steve Bannon for failing to honor a subpoena from the committee investigating the January 6 Capitol breach.
Global Economy. November 12, 1533 America, New York. Yardstick of future U.S. inflation climbs to highest in over a decade. Bond sell-off continues as 10-year break-even rate reaches 2.76%, propelled by fears of rising prices.
Forex Live. November 12, 1525 America, New York. Democrats more worried about Manchin than Sinema on reconciliation package. Democrats unsure about Manchin on Build Back Better legislation. CNN's Manu Raju that Democrats are more worried about losing Sen Joe Manchin's vote in the reconciliation package than Kristen Sinema.
New York Times Business. November 12, 1524 America, New York. COVID-19 misinformation goes unchecked on radio and podcasts. False statements about vaccines have spread on the Wild West of media, even as some hosts die of virus complications. Mark Bernier, a radio host who accused the U.S.